Gotta butcher 'em all, polka duff. Or in other words, welcome to the old switcheroo where we're normally talking gaming retro with Mike and JMO.
I'm Mike.
And I'm JMO. In this special LiteSwitch episode, we're taking a break from our usual quest to research and review every game in the Nintendo Classics catalog to bring you our reactions to all the exciting news from this year's Pokemon 30th anniversary. If you like what you hear, don't forget to hit that pound. Don't forget to pound that like and subscribe button like you were pressing B and up right after throwing a Pokeball. Please welcome back to the show Twitch's living Triforce, the fandoms of Pokemon, Dragon Ball, and Power Ranger Ball combined. SSJ3 Butch, how was your winter, my friend?
Oh, it's actually not bad. Living in Wisconsin, we actually had a winter this year. Past couple of years, we've had barely any snow. It maybe did in January and February a little bit, and that was it. And this year, we actually had snow. We had a white Christmas. It's been good. Had to do a lot of shoveling, which sucks. But, it still was actually a nice winter.
Awesome. Really, really jealous. And no Pokemon team would be complete without Derrick McDuff from the Underrated Movie Podcast. Derrick, you looking forward to WonderCon this year?
Oh, I am indeed, and I think for my panel, I'm gonna bring a friend. I'm gonna bring I think I might bring Mr.
Butch!
Yeah, Butch is gonna
yeah,
be.
yeah, I'm gonna be there.
No, but yeah, WonderCon doing a. I can't give any details exactly yet, but it will be about video game movies. I'll be there, and on the panel, making his WonderCon panel debut will be Mr. JMO himself.
I am beyond excited, and I wish I could talk about it, but stay tuned. It's going to be amazing. So guys, before we dive into the Poke headlines, I thought we could give our listeners the quick rundown of our experience with Pokemon series. And then I got a little mini game minute for us. So Mike, would you start us off? What's your experience with Pokemon?
Um, so certainly starting with Pokemon Blue, and I guess around the same time also would have been when everyone else was watching the cartoon in the mornings, I was turning it on and then falling asleep for the length of an episode and then waking up because it was a morning cartoon and I am not a morning person. So an attempt was made.
Yeah.
Um, and then roughly so in close order to that would have also been Pokemon Snap,
Yeah.
and then collecting and never playing the Pokemon card game. Um, Possibly the first of multiple card games that I've collected and never known how to play.
Right.
Um, and then a large lull until we get to Pokemon Go, which may be what I'm doing right now. Um,
Are you playing right now? Is that a Pokestop within striking distance of your apartment?
I have two and a gym, and if I drift enough, I can get the stop across the street.
Wow.
Humbug.
Yeah, it
Very
is
cool.
super useful. Which technically, when it came out, I did not have a smartphone, but this probably played when I had to upgrade my phone. Pokemon Go was a factor in that decision.
I'm
Um,
doing the math at how late you got your first smartphone. That's pretty impressive, Mike.
it's because I was on a pay-as-you-go like bar phone up until AT&T discontinued my network.
Oh, you were grandfathered into a really great deal.
Um, no, it was cheap, and when they
Yeah.
decided to say like you're gonna have to get a new phone and a new plan, it was like okay, if I have to get a new phone, I'm going to check my options, and I switched over, and it was great because I was like, oh well, why are you leaving AT&T? It's like, well, you discontinued my network. Like, what could we do to get you to stay? Not do that. Like, you broke up with me. Um, and so
This still bothers you to this day. That's why I love you, Mike.
the other fun part was when they did try to entice me with like, oh well, you can get this and bundle it with HDTV with high def TV, and I'm like, yeah, it's not going to work. I have a CRT, and the guy's just like, I don't know that brand, and I nearly was like, can I talk to someone older, please?
Can I talk to
I
your
don't
father?
know that brand. Oh,
Yeah,
Well-
I
God, I'm
need to
old.
clarify. This was that window where CRTs were like dirt cheap
Hmm.
before retro gaming pushed that back up into expensive again.
Right.
Where it was like you weren't so much buying a CRT as you were freeing someone else from having to figure out how to get rid of a CRT.
That's really funny that CRT TVs and vinyl records kind of came back at the same time. So, for our kind of icebreaker game, we're gonna play Pick-a-Mon. I have two randomly selected Pokemon from the beginning 151, and Mike's gonna pick a favorite, but we're gonna guess what his favorite of the two is before he tells us. So
Okay.
Mike, make your choice, but don't tell us, okay? Your choices are number 59, Arcanine, the fire dog, or 141, Kabutops, the living fossil praying mantis thing. I think I know for sure which one Mike likes more. He's Kabutops, right? He's it's paleontology, it's evolution. Like Mike's gonna appreciate that. Derek, what do
Uh,
you guys think he's gonna pick?
Um, I'll go with Arcanine, just because I don't know, and I'll just go the other way.
I'm not gonna reveal why you're wrong until Butch guesses. Butch? Oh,
I was gonna say the same thing. I'll go against the grain here and say Arcanine as well. Even though like Mike, right? You guys
Yeah.
are close, so like I'll say it just because like it's a big fuzzy warm dog.
hey Mike, do you like big dogs?
I don't.
Okay,
Ah,
Though
but
I would say, though honestly, the selling point for Kabutops actually is that I have technically it's a Kabuto related story, but it's Kabuto Tops comes with it. Um, in Pokemon Go, early on, going someplace that was supposed to have a bunch of Kabuto with someone. I think it was also uh, when Pokemon Go had nests still of
mhm.
like you would travel around and you'd find this area has a bunch of a particular Pokemon. Went with someone who I didn't know that well at the time. It was just someone else in the department when I was in Tennessee. Like we both play Pokemon. There's a place over there that's supposed to be good. Do you want to go? We went, did not find what we were looking for, picked up a bunch of Kabuto, and this is early enough in the game. I did not yet have enough to evolve Squirtle up to Blastoise. Like that's a very large gap to have in your Pokedex.
okay.
Um, we stumbled upon a wild Blastoise.
Wow.
Oh wow.
And like it showed up, we found it. The key had broken on my car, so I wasn't going to turn the car off until I got home with my spare key. So like we're driving along, and it's just like, where is it? Wait, there it is. It's behind the Caterpie. I can't see it. Get out of the car, and him getting out to go get it. And so I still have that Blastoise, even though it is not good. Um,
Yeah,
from many years ago because it was so fun to get, and part of it was out of a Kabuto nest.
that is incredible. Did you give it a nickname?
I didn't. I just know it's the like I don't. All of my Pokemon and Pokemon Go are just named with the stats. Like I even slightly regret I did just this past week got a regional Pokemon that was caught for me in New Zealand in 2018 by someone that left this field of astronomy, and I have not seen until this week. And he has saved up until I renamed it. It literally had my name on it.
Wow.
It was named for me and held there for like, what was that, 8 years?
That's
Jeez.
awesome. And it's aged like a fine wine. It's a much higher level now.
I
Derek,
mean, it's a Relicanth. It's supposed to
Oh yeah.
age.
so I get the point. It's Kabutops.
Yes.
All right, so I get 1 point. So Derek, give us your Poke history, and then I'll give you your choices.
Yeah, so I mean, my Poke history, like Mike, I started from day one, at least in America, with Pokemon. I don't remember which was first. I think it was red version first, but I eventually did get blue and yellow, and was all in on Pokemania. I watched the show. I like him. Didn't play the game, but still collected the cards. I still have my cards. I remember watching the movie and getting that like collectible Mew card that you got like the promo one, and was just all in. Me and my friends, and I was one of the kids who was like, I did the missing no glitch so I could get like, W blue sky rare candies and like put all my Pokemon to level 100 and stuff like that and corrupt my Hall of Fame file. And then of course when they came out with the next, I was like, there's 100 new ones? And so I did get the original 151 as a kid. Even and Mew because my friend knew how to do the Mew glitch. And I got the Mew and played Gen 2, played Gen 3, into high school, played Gen 4, lost my DS on a tragic day on the train going to college eventually.
You left it on the
I
train?
left it on the train, it fell out of my pocket. I never got it
Oh,
back. So, and then I was like, I'm done. I'm retired from Pokemon. But I started back up again, had a couple of my Pokemon. So, Then I went back, played, got because that was my diamond version I had. I got Pearl, got back into it, played Gen 5, 6, all the way up, and I played every single Pokemon game. And I even today I have a Pokemon Home account. I have some of those Pokemon from my Gen 3 games, which is the earliest you can go back that I didn't, the ones I didn't lose, I have transferred all the way up to my current Gen 9 and home games. So I have some Pokemon that are older than some like children and stuff that I know, or even some people of voting age probably, because they're from
Wow.
2003. And I have still I've caught all Pokemon. I've caught all 10,025. I don't have a living dex, but in my Scarlet I have a completed dex, and in my home I have a completed dex. And I've complete the dex in every generation that I play.
So you don't like the series very much.
No, it's not for me.
I just love the idea of you in like a dimly lit bar, and you're like, and the government approaches. You're like, Derek, we need you back in the game, and you're like, I'm retired. You don't know what I've seen, and it's just a flashback of you leaving your DS on the train. You
I
know.
still think about that all the
Oh,
time. I'm like, where's my diamond and my leaf green version? You
I would
know,
like to think that someone who got it, appreciated it, and couldn't afford it themselves, and they're living a beautiful life.
I hope
Um,
so.
and Butch found a DS on a train, and that's how he
Oh,
got
interesting.
into Pokemon.
It was real
Um,
weird. It was just sitting there, and, you know.
yeah, these guys suck. I deleted the file immediately.
Right?
Okay, so Derek, your Poke choices
Hmm.
are this one seems a little easy to be honest, but I'm just doing what I get at random here. Executor number 103 or Jolteon 135.
Okay, okay.
I'm guys, it's gonna be Jolteon, right? Like who likes Executor more than Jolteon? Mike likes what kind of idiot? Oh, you do. You really do, Mike? Why?
I think Jolteon was just hit, or has been frustrating.
Okay.
I think it feels like there's other things that were more useful, whereas I had what I called the executor forest in Pokemon Go because there was a lot of them around
Okay.
and they were
Yeah.
very useful.
I know that. Yeah, and also like
Eh,
Alolan Executor is kind of cool.
I wasn't going
There's
to
a
count that
long
one,
neck.
but I do really enjoy. There's a comic of like Charizard asking to sit at the dragon table, and the dragons are like, no. And then that executor comes up like, hey guys, like, quick, get up, you take the seat.
All
I've
right.
seen that.
So
Yeah.
we're still guessing for Derek though.
Mm-hmm.
So I say Jolteon. Mike,
I no, I
go with your gut.
I'll get the executor curveball here.
Okay. Okay. Taking a flyer on
Feels a
Executor
bit
or
more fun.
Execute or whatever. Butch.
I'm going to say Jolteon, just because even though in like the early gens, Jolteon was kind of in a rough spot. Even then, like you look at Executor and you're like, I need a psychic type. There's better psychic types. At least that's my feel. So I'm going to
Okay.
say Jolteon.
Derek.
It's Jolteon. Jolteon
Yeah.
is maybe my favorite Gen 1 Pokemon. Like it's between him and Mew probably. I love Jolteon. He has been on my team many, many times. Whenever I do a Kanto run, he's always my electric type. So yeah, I love Jolteon. He's such a good boy. He's one of my all-time favorite Pokemon. He's in my top 10 Pokemon of all time. So the fact that you rolled him and a Pokemon that is like I don't have anything against Executor, but like I've never used him on a team. He's very forgettable. His typing is atrocious.
His typing is atrocious. It's like you're firing the
Grass Psychic? Are you
secretary.
kidding me? Get out of here. Unless you're a mythical Pokemon, I don't want none of that.
Yep.
All right. So I'll go next. Mike and I had a classmate in middle school and high school named John, and John convinced me to get a Game Boy, and I thought he wanted to be my friend and play the game. He just wanted someone to trade with. He had Pokemon Red, I had Pokemon Blue. Pokemon to me at that point, I only knew it as the obscure anime pilot I saw on UPN 13. They aired the SS Anne episode, the Saint Anne,
Mhm.
first before the pilot. And I remember that being heavily promoted. My brothers and I watched it, and like we thought it was like the coolest thing in the world. And the next day, there was a kid at school who was like, "Oh my God, did you watch? He's like, go like Rock Snake." And it's like, I'm like, it's Onyx, okay? His name's Onyx, not Rock Snake. So yeah, Pokemon Underground, we would meet in the library and we would pretend to be reading books, but we'd have the link cables and the Game Boys underneath our tables, and we felt so dangerous because this is pre-cell phones. This is like, to bring a video game to school, you felt like you'd get in some real trouble. Um, I have played and beaten almost every generation. Black and White was the one that I skipped. Dabbled Pokemon Go. I did Let's Go. Derek is wrong. Those games are fun. Um,
No, they're
and
bad.
and yeah, I am stoked. So my Pick-a-Mon, do you guys think I like number 37 Vulpix more or less than number 130 Gyarados?
Ooh,
Which one does JMO like
that
more?
is tough.
Mike should go first because he does know me the best.
It's a tough call. I'm going to say the Magikarp to Gyarados evolution thing is going to draw you into Gyarados.
Okay. Okay. Fair theory. Butch?
Um, man, that's tough because like a lot of people love Vulpix because it's cute and it's it's got the history behind it.
I
But
like them
also,
both.
yeah, everybody also loves Gyarados. Like, yeah, Magikarp, it's tough to grind out, but once you get that Gyarados, like I know I get a Gyarados and that's saved a lot of Nuzlocks for me. Um, so yeah,
You're gonna
Gyarados.
get us
I'm just gonna.
delisted with that kind of talk, Butch. Come on there. Relax. Look at that. There it is. He's got the red Gyarados.
Oh
Mike's
yeah,
Mike's
I got one of
flexing.
those.
That
I
is a
got I got a
level
red
one.
Gyarados
Nice.
from Heart Gold still in my
Yep.
Pokemon home.
So what's the
Yep.
call? What's the call, Butch? Gyarados or Vulpix?
Gyarados.
All
I
right,
would say
Derek,
for
do
sure.
you concur, as Leo DiCaprio would say, and catch me if you can?
I concur. Yes, I think because I mean it's kind of like I feel like Vulpix is cool, but everybody loves Gyarados, and I think Mike has a good point where I could see you being like, guys, it's great. It starts as this weak Pokemon and becomes one of the strongest. I could see that angle being a very JMO angle.
Yeah. So if you guys have been paying attention, you kind of already knew the answer because Gyarados attacked the Saint Anne after it capsizes, and that was the scariest, coolest moment as a kid. And then Mike and I, we both love Pokemon Snap, and when you knock the Magikarp into the waterfall and Gyarados comes roaring out of the waterfall and leering over you like some kind of animatronic in a really good dark ride,
Mm,
that's an all-time gamer moment, and I think we talked about it, Derek, on your Pokemon Snap episode. So yeah,
yep.
Gyarados with a bullet. Vulpix super cute, but I'm a Gyara boy. Okay, so Butch, no,
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
Butch.
Yes. Yes.
What's your Poke history?
Oh boy, I'd like everybody or most people here. I started with red, blue. I picked red first, but I eventually did get blue. I was fortunate enough that like I had an original like gray brick Game Boy, and then I ended up getting a pocket for my birthday one year, many years later. So I was able to have both. I had a link cable so I could trade with myself because, as we know from my history, I didn't have friends growing up, especially ones that played Pokemon, because that was nobody played that. That was the nerd thing, right? So I was able to trade with myself, complete my Pokedexes. Like Derek, I was able to do the Mew glitch, so I was able to get that. Missing No, all of that stuff. Knew the glitches. Also, if you heard the rumors, the Poke Gods, Bill's Garden. If you know, you know. But obviously they weren't true. They weren't true. Those were the rumors.
Wait,
Like,
there's
oh,
not
Bill.
a Mew behind a truck by the SS End?
Right, exactly. That was those are some of the big rumors going around that the grass outside of Pallet Town, if you could get to that through the barricades, that's where the Poke Gods were hidden. And Bill, if you got like I think all 151 and went to him, you could go to a secret garden and get stuff like, because it was rumored, Togepi and all the ones from like Gen 2 and stuff.
My uncle who works at Nintendo told me that was true.
Exactly, right. So the playground rumors.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, from there, gold, silver, crystal, ruby, sapphire, emerald, and then of course fire, red, leaf, green. Although the spin-off games, the mystery dungeons, Snap, Stadium, the card game. I even got the little how do you pronounce it? Like Tomy. The figures, I still have some actually.
Mm.
And I got all of those. growing up, the little Pokeballs. I'd pretend I was throwing them out. I actually, to this day, I still have my yellow, red, and blue cartridge. At one point, I don't know if it was legit. I can't tell you if it was because I was a kid. But a local mom and pop shop had a copy of green. And I bought it, and I had it for the longest time. I don't know where it went. I feel like somebody, like an ex-roommate or somebody, stole it. But like I said, I don't know if it was a legit copy or not. But yeah, like you name the game, I've probably played it in some form or fashion. And I'm very big in the scene, if you know what I'm talking about, and enjoy other stories around Pokemon. So
That's awesome. Yeah, the same person who took Derek's DS off the train got your copy of green. And it's just
yeah, exactly.
moving through the Zoom. Okay, so
My foil Charizard.
All right, so Butch, to tie the game up, your two choices for Pick-a-Mon, you can choose between Ponyta, number 77, or Ghastly, number 92. And we're going to guess first. Ponyta or Ghastly? That's actually kind of tough. Ponyta so pretty, but the design is kind of simple. But I guess Ghastly is just like Pac-Man on fire. I'm gonna go with Ghastly. I think it's a more fun evolution chain, and I think if Butch remembers their appearance on the show, the ghost episode is so fun. They all have distinct personalities, and Ghastly is also one of the few Pokemon to ever talk. It talks in its episode, so I'm gonna say Ghastly. Mike, what do you think Butch's choice is gonna be?
My gut is Ghastly.
Yeah, Ghastly as well.
Yeah, I think it's 3 for 3. Ghastly's so cool, it's and I don't know Butch that well. We met this Zoom is right before the Zoom recording started. So I'm gonna it's kind of a guess, but in my own opinion, I like Ghastly better. So I'll assume you're a man of taste and culture as well, and you like Ghastly.
Butch.
Yeah, it's gonna be Ghastly.
Yeah.
I mean, Ponyta, like you said, it's a good mon, but like you look at a fire type, if you're like, oh, I need a fire type, there's others you go for, at least in my opinion. Like it could be a good early fire type, but yeah, I'd rather go Ghastly just because the evolution line and one of actually the only ghost evolution line in Gen 1. So
yeah.
Well, you know what? That means that you guys all tie for second, but your boy wins it. 3 for 3 guesses. So, guys, let's jump in then to last week. The Pokemon Company went hard with a flurry of announcements celebrating Pokemon's 30th anniversary. We're here to break down the big one, starting with the re-release of Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green from the Game Boy Advance. According to Nintendo.com, celebrate 30 years of Pokemon with this Nintendo Switch version of the Pokemon Fire Red version or Leaf Green version originally released on the Game Boy Advance system. These remasters are really spectacular, I think. It's described as saying this digital exclusive and contains the Sevi
is how I always pronounce
Sevi
Sevi.
Islands, where even
Yep.
more Pokemon await. That's where you can catch them from Gen 2 and 3. You can also visit the Pokemon Wireless Club to trade, battle, and chat with other players via local wireless. Who could want anything more than that, Butch?
Yeah.
You'll also be able to bring the Pokemon you catch and train to the place where all Pokemon gather. Support for Pokemon Home is coming soon to Fire Red and Leaf Green. Do I assume that last part is what's kind of exciting?
I mean, it needs to be that you need to have. I think you need to have connection to home because if you don't, because you can still technically get your Pokemon from your old Fire Red and Leaf Green to Pokemon Home, but it requires you to trade them up from Fire Red and Leaf Green using a DS with a slot for a Game Boy into a Diamond and Pearl. Then you get a second game or second DS, trade them over to that game using POW Park. From that one, put them in to Sun and Moon, then to X and Y, and then the Pokemon Bank.
Yep.
If you have Bank downloaded, which is not available anymore on a DS, and then from Bank you can get it to home. So it's a much more direct route.
You got to have a smuggler's run.
Yeah, I mean, that's legitimately the way you have to do it. You have to have all the proper hardware and the proper software because, like he said, if you don't have Bank now, like I do, because I got it originally. But if you don't, you can't get it anymore.
And for those who aren't familiar, Pokemon Home and Pokemon Bank was basically like one central app where you would store your Pokemon from different games and you could trade them to any game, but it was like a little hub. Mike, did you ever? So you and me, I remember we played the Game Boy originals. Did you ever mess with any of the re-releases like Fire Red, Leaf Green, or even Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee?
No, in part just because they stayed console and like I had a Game Boy, old Game Boy,
Yeah.
and then nothing.
Okay. So do these re-releases call to you at all? Are you kind of tempted to drop that $20 and give it a run, give it a swirl, take it for a ride?
Not heavily.
Okay. But Butch, you jumped on it, right?
I did. I got Fire Red. And I will say, like, I know the fandom is split big time with this because there's a lot of people that are like $20 is too much. There's a lot of people that are like, I could have just been on Nintendo Switch Online. There's a lot of people that are like, hey, drink up me hearty yo ho for the past however many years, and you don't need to pay the $20, right? And so like, there's so many people that are like, they love it. There's people that are upset about it. There's people that are confused about it. I got on it just because, like, even if I have, like with when we talked about Link to the Past and I do randomizers, right? I've done that with Pokemon as well, and I've done other things where people have made their own stories off the engines and stuff. I still was like, this is the original game, especially now the fact that you get the Aurora ticket and the Mystic ticket, which allows you to get Deoxys and either Lugia or Ho-Oh, which you didn't get back then because they never released it. Or if they did, it was for a very brief window and you had to live in like New York or Kyoto or someplace like that and physically show up to get it.
Yeah. So Derrick, are you gonna pick up these on the Switch for $20?
I will. I think $20 is definitely a reasonable price. I think I see what Butch is saying about like a lot of people being upset about online. Like it should have just been on, the Switch, online. But I do like that it's like, no, you can just own this. You don't have to have a subscription to this other service. So I like that. $20, like I said, is not that terrible. These are really great games because I have been waiting. I've been like, when are they gonna start releasing the actual core series games onto the Switch? Because you could get a lot of them on like the old Nintendo DS eShop. You could, you can get all like the spin-off games. You can like Pokemon Snap and Mystery Dungeon, all that stuff. But these were just never available. I was surprised that they went with Fire Red and Leaf Green. I guess it makes sense because Pokemon loves going back to Kanto. Gen 3 is really nostalgic. Kanto games are really nostalgic, so you're getting both those. So it makes sense for that to be the first one, but I'm like waiting for them to, and now I'm like, okay, are we gonna get Platinum? That's the one I want to see, because I can play these games. I still have my original hardware, and I can play them on my old DS, because that will play Game Boy Advance games. Um, probably not going to do it yet because and I've told you about this, JMO, and I've mentioned on the Discord, I am in the middle of doing a mono run challenge where I'm playing every single generation of Pokemon and trying to beat it with only bug types. And I already did Gen 3. That was the one I started with. I did Emerald. So I probably won't be going back to this until I finish this challenge. But hey, if they release Platinum on as a way, I don't care how much, because if I want to buy a legit copy of Platinum, that's cost like $200. So
Right.
if they release it for, 20, $30, sign me up. I'll do that. I'm gonna get my bugs.
So you'll appreciate this. My older brother Justin, he's also a Pokemaniac, and at the comic shop that he had friends who ran the comic shop. They did a Pokemon event where people dressed up as gym leaders, and my brother's a legit paleontologist. Like he's discovered a subspecies of boar, so he has like all the equipment, the little chips and the vest and the hat. And he made a rock team, and actual kids would go from person to person and fight on Pokemon against the gym leader who's in costume and has only one type,
Mm,
and he gave them like the boulder badge or whatever it
so
was.
cool.
Isn't that
Yeah, yeah.
sick,
Cool.
Derek?
That's
That is
amazing.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. My friend Gabe is a paleontologist too, but he's also a big Poke nerd, and like he does a lot of stuff about like fossils and like the fossil Pokemon, and like, so when I was at the museum of the LA Museum of Natural History, and like I saw a picture of him on the wall, and I'm like, and so he does a lot of that same stuff too, so I think that's really rad.
That's awesome. I do think to speak to Butch's point about like this game should be Nintendo classics, like obviously Mike and I would freaking love that. But I think it's important to remember that Nintendo does not own Pokemon. And so there had to be some kind of bargaining happening where they're like, well, we would make X amount of dollars if we just re-release and sell it. How much are you going to give us, Nintendo, to put this on the service? And it must have just been like, you know what, Nintendo's like, well, we'll get the slice of this if you just sell it. So I think this is purely a business decision. But I am hopeful. I do agree with Derek. It's really weird to jump straight to the remake, which gives me some sliver of hope that maybe the basic versions will be Nintendo classics. So that could be kind of neat. Like we get red and blue on the Game Boy app on Nintendo Classics, but the nicer version. I don't think well, yeah, and
I
it just wouldn't be
they
compatible with home.
they might. I don't know because they did. And I don't know if you were around for that at the time, but they did release red, blue, yellow, and then gold, silver, crystal on the 3DS.
Yeah,
On their
I have gold and red on my
yeah,
3DS.
and they did that where those were then compatible with Bank. Like you could move
That's
them
cool.
forward to Bank, and they actually in Crystal you could get the GS ball and get Celebi, which you couldn't in the US version. So they might bring it back. I don't know. They might have just been like, hey, we already did it on the 3DS, and if you missed it, you missed it. Too bad.
Yeah.
You know, so it's possible. As far as like the other Gen 3 games, I know there are people that have been like data mining the ROM itself, and it has the basically the hardware code in there for Emerald, Ruby, and Sapphire.
Oh.
So they potentially could. I mean, they'd be dumb not to release the other three, considering Fire Red and Leaf Green were made to essentially complete the Pokedex. Because when Ruby and Sapphire came out, you could only get like Gen 3 and a few Gen 2, and then Fire Red and Leaf Green were made. In fact, actually, Coliseum was also made to help it. And then Emerald finally came in with like the last, what was it, 12? I can't remember the exact number, but like you couldn't complete a full Pokedex in Gen 3 without having all the other games.
Yep.
Yeah.
So what they need to do when they release those, Butch, is they need to finally do, was it Shifting Cave? Altering Cave. They
Altering
need to
Cave,
make
yes.
Altering Cave a thing.
Yeah, because in default in the game, it was supposed to be an event cave, and they didn't do anything with it. And if you went to it, this is actually in the Sevi Islands post game, you were supposed to be able to go to this cave and you could get like event Pokemon in it, or like they would switch out to be like, oh, you can't get this Pokemon, but now you can, so you can transfer it somewhere else. And it just ended up being Zubats, and it's like, well, I can get Zubats and Mount Moon. What the, you know?
Yeah, because I remember like for like the longest time was like, what is this? This is something. This is like this weird cave that's like kind of hard to get to. There's only Zubats, and yeah, it was a thing where they're like, yeah, this is gonna be an event, and they just never released the event.
Yep.
They were supposed to get all the like Johto Pokemon that you couldn't get because it was the Gen 2 Pokemon that were harder to get, but it never became anything.
Yep.
So fix this wrong, Nintendo.
Yep.
It's been 20 whatever years.
Right, you're giving us the Mystic ticket and the Aurora ticket. Fix the Altering Cave.
Yes.
Quit Mystic Ticket edging them.
Yeah, right. But yeah, I mean that's the entirely, because like you couldn't take your Gen 1 and Gen 2. Like in the day you could trade Gen 1 up to Gen 2, but then it was a hard cutoff. You could not trade that from Gen 2 to Gen 3. So that's one of the reasons why they made Fire Red, Leaf Green, and one of the reasons, besides just getting the other Gen 2 that were missing so you could get Gen 1, because otherwise it wasn't possible.
Mike, what were you gonna say?
I was going to say, I do have the feeling like I wouldn't expect, if they do release any of it onto as a Nintendo Classics, I would not expect that it would have like the connections to home and everything.
Right.
You don't think so? I think it will.
I don't, just for the fact that there's already, if you go look it up, there's already videos on Fire Red, Leaf Green on how to dupe Pokemon, how to dupe Master Balls, like all of the stuff that was, back in the day is now big again. And so I feel like they wouldn't, because then now you're going to have Mews floating out there that aren't legit because people are doing it with this dupe ability with, it's one of the mail items you can do it. I don't remember exactly, but yeah.
I would say I just don't expect them to add additional capabilities to anything that they put into the Nintendo Classics.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But being that I paid $20 for this, it is really a bummer that you can't play online against people.
Yeah.
Because like Nintendo Classics, like you can play Game Boy multiplayer games that had link cable functionality through the internet. Mike and I did it with Dr. Mario. So like I know that someone at Nintendo knows the code for that, and you'd think that at this point they would have been working together so well that they're like, let's make this happen. But I do think that the whole Pokemon Home issue might have something to do with it with a game we're going to talk about later. Let's jump into Pokemon XD, aka Extra Dimension, aka Laughing Emoticon, Gale of Darkness being added to Nintendo Classics. It says here, Shadow Pokemon have reappeared in the Aura?
I always pronounce it Orray.
Orre. Orre.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Okay, so according to Nintendo.com, Shadow Pokemon have repeated in the Ore region in this role-playing game released for the Nintendo GameCube system in 2005. You are a young boy living at the Ore region's Pokemon HQ lab with his mom and little sister, who gets swept up in a grand adventure when an incident occurs at the lab. With your Aura reader, which can detect Shadow Pokemon that have had their doors to their hearts shut, and the Snag machine, which can capture Shadow Pokemon from evil trainers, it's up to you to save the world. Stand against evil and reopen the doors to shut the hearts of the Shadow Pokemon to restore them to their natural selves. Please note, you will not be able to transfer Pokemon from Game Boy Advance titles to this title.
Yeah.
Which is just funny. They're saying like, hey, that thing you just bought, you can't use those Pokemon. Don't get all excited. Um, I do agree with our friend in the Discord, Chico, who said that like, why wasn't Coliseum first? I guess Pokemon XD is a direct sequel to
Yep.
Coliseum. But I do think this is the better known game. I know the whole Shadow Lugia thing as kind of the antagonist is a big defining trait of its story and it's kind of the iconography of the game itself. I am excited to play this eventually. I think the mechanic of catching Pokemon by stealing them from abusive trainers, I imagine that's actually pretty satisfying and kind of a fun way to expand the team. So, Derek, Butch, you guys said that you've played everything Pokemon. Mike, you're with me. You haven't tried this before, right?
I had not heard of this before.
Okay, but boys, you tried it before?
Oh yeah.
I had the first Coliseum. I never actually had this one.
Okay,
Oh
so
yeah. Okay. Yeah.
and but you platinumed it or whatever.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, because at the time, the only way you could get the Johto starters, Chikorita, Cyndaquil, and Totodile, was through playing XD, and you had to go through like the 100 trainers or whatever, and then at the end you picked one, and then you'd have to do it again and then do it again, and that was the only
Whoa.
way to get the Johto starters. You couldn't get them through the other games, right? Through this other mishmash of all the other games, you had to do it that way. And that was the same way because they didn't do the Mystic ticket. I can't remember if it was the Mystic or the Aurora ticket for which one was which, but you couldn't. That's the way you got Lugia, right? Was in Gale of Darkness, but the way to get Ho-Oh was in Coliseum. You had to do that same thing. You had to go through those 100 trainers, and then you get Ho-Oh, and because they never released that event or whatever. So yeah, that was how you did it. That's how you completed those dexes.
And so is the game itself, is it good? Are you excited to play it
Oh,
again? Are you going
it's
to
a
play it
good game.
again?
Yeah, oh yeah,
Okay.
100%. It's for a GameCube game, and having like the purpose it was made for, it was good. It is good. It's better than I think it should be. Because at the time, like you went from Stadium, you went from Snap and Pokemon Stadium 1 and 2, and then you get Coliseum and then Gale of Darkness, which were at the time when I played them, I was like, oh, this is just going to be, another stadium, right? They're just calling it something different.
Right,
They're
yeah,
calling
yeah.
it. Yeah. So I definitely think like while Coliseum was good, Gale of Darkness improved on a bunch of stuff that needed to be improved, like quality of life stuff and whatever. But I think it's definitely good game. Story was, for the time that it came out, was good. So yeah, I'm excited for it.
Yeah, it was interesting because it was like, when at that point when we got the the spin-off Pokemon games, they're always just like, fun things like Snap or, Let's Go Pikachu, whatever. And this was the first one where it was like, this is a story. And you're like, well, this is like a Pokemon game with a full story, but it's not one of the core series games. So it kind of existed in this weird middle ground where you're like, it is a real Pokemon game, but it's not one of the real Pokemon games.
Right. Because even in the other games, in the Game Boy series or DS series, like there's references to the other games, right? They'll reference Sinnoh, or somebody will be like, from Johto and reference Sinnoh or whatever, right? But
Hmm.
nobody ever references the Ore region ever.
Yeah.
Let's see if Derek gets this joke. There are many lavender towns. Are you sure you're in the right one?
Yes, I did get that. We have talked about Silent Hill quite a bit on this show. Malcolm McDowell went off with that one.
All right, so then let's jump into the last re-release, Pokemon TCG Pokemon Day 2026 Collection. According to Amazon.com, celebrate 30 years of Pokemon. Every year on February 27th, Pokemon fans around the world celebrate Pokemon Day to commemorate the release of the very first Pokemon video games in Japan. Pokemon Day 2026 is an extra special occasion. It's Pokemon 30th anniversary, and you're invited to the party. Celebrate with a specially stamped foil promo card featuring Pikachu and a metallic coin featuring the 30th anniversary logo, plus 3 booster packs from 3 different Pokemon TCG expansions. Um, you guys haven't, so we kind of said that a lot of you collected the cards but never really played the cards. Um, there's a fantastic Pokemon trading card game on Nintendo Classics. My brothers and I played the hell out of that thing. Add the sequel to Nintendo Classics, you cowards. It's never been released in America. That would be such a cool
It
get.
would be good.
Yeah, but I think it's really funny because like now Pokemon cards are more relevant than ever because of scalpers and like the
Mhm.
high value of certain cards. And like I have a friend at work who does like opening videos and he's got the good form down, doing the card flips. Caesar, if you're listening, I love you, buddy. But it's just weird to me because it's like Pokemon has now become this thing that was all about how much the cards are worth, and that was also my experience as a kid. I remember selling like a foil Charizard and a foil Blastoise and buying video games with them. So I collected the cards up through the fossil set, which was the third set,
Mm.
and then it would be like, well, I'd grab one every now and then, but I kind of stopped playing the physical cards and stopped buying them regularly. Mike, you had some Pokemon cards, but you we never played, right?
No, I never played, never really knew how it worked. Still have the card somewhere.
Wow. Yeah, there's probably something rare in there if you ever look for it.
I I have wondered about that.
Butch, so how deep did you go deep in all things Pokemon? Like,
So the cards I did, like I played it when it came out through like Generation 1. In fact, I have a story about that. In junior high, 7th grade, once again, didn't have any friends, but I did have the cards. And of course, like this was the point where like cards were banned in school, but we still like people would get together. And I showed up one time with this, group of nerds where they're like, they thought they were big hot shots, right? And I was like, I just want to go show up and give it a go. And this guy was like, I'll play you for my foil Charizard. I was like, fine, let's do it, right? And I ended up winning, and he refused to give me the Charizard. I never got it. He refused to give it to me, and basically everybody backed him up because, right, I was the nobody that nobody cared about. So yeah, to this day, like, and the guy's name was Mike. No offense, Mike, but Mike, if you're out there, you suck. Um,
the Speed
but
Racer twist where it is Mike and he just had facial reconstruction surgery and like whatever. Oh, that's brutal.
Yeah, it sucked. But so I didn't really like ever get to the competitive scene or anything like that. I'd play against a couple people here and there, but never anything big. And I think I got to like Gen 2, and then I was like, this is starting to get too much. And like now you look at it, right? Like you said, the scalpers are in on it. And I got some of like the promotional cards, like the Mew that everybody got for the movie. And I remember distinctly one that was my favorite. I ended up selling it off. It was a Zapdos Moltres Articuno all in one. It was a promotional card from something. I don't remember what. I ended up getting my hands on it, and then I ended up selling it off probably a couple years later. But yeah, I just eventually got to the point where like I have some in hard cases that are graded. But like I'm not like, oh god, I gotta get the newest set and go crazy with scalpers and all that stuff. So I still think it's cool. Like I've got the Pocket TCG on my phone, and I open the cards up that way and stuff just for that whole like gambling serotonin, right? Just let's rip a pack and see what happens.
Yeah, that game was my like nicotine patch when Marvel Snap went down and I fell out
Yeah.
of love with that game for a minute because it actually plays better than you'd expect. I like the way that they simplified the mechanics down to like a 3-minute match. I'm a big fan of quick CCG card games.
And then, of course, I did play the Game Boy Color game because I loved it.
Yeah.
I was heavy into that. And then once again, I'm the same boat as you. Release a sequel, you cowards, because
Right.
I want to play it. I
so
badly
cool.
want to play it.
Derrick, any experience with the cards?
Yeah, I mean, I collected them when I was a kid because I was obsessed with all things Pokemon, but I never really got into the card game. It was just it was if I like the cards at all, it was just like I want to have my favorites. Like I was a kid, I was like I want to have all the evolutions. It's nice to have that set. I bought him I bought a couple packs like a while back because I was like, okay, here's a set that has some Pokemon that I might like actually just like to have these cards as like actual collectible items. But I never really got into that. I'm not really a card game guy. At least not Pokemon cards. So it's not really my thing, and I hate scalpers. I despise them. I think that they're people who cannot afford to be landlords, so they try to rip people off in other ways.
Yep.
There's Derek's hot take on scalpers. We don't
Yeah.
like them.
Nope. You guys can go kick a rock, scalpers. If
Yep.
there's any scalpers listening to this, fuck you.
I love those videos of the people like, oh, just two grown men sitting in the toy aisle at Target. You know what I mean? Just...
Yeah. Or you see it all the time, the videos of like them lifting up the bottom shelf and sticking them under there to hide for later because they started setting limits and stuff. And I'm like, seriously, go get an actual job. Like I can understand opening packs and like I'm a collector, but then like I don't necessarily want this, so I can sell it off or whatever. But like, don't sit there and buy it out from under kids' hands and then jack the price. Like
Exactly.
seriously.
And like, because I work my day job, I work in like a bookstore and we do carry collectible cards. And so, so we get very rarely Pokemon cards all day, every day. We get calls. Do you guys have any Pokemon cards or One Piece? All day, every day. And then we just get, whenever we get them in, we just get swarmed by people. We have to limit them. And then the thing that really bugs me is I'm like, we'll have like two things. I'm like, okay, do you want the Kyogre one or the Suicune? I want that one. It's like, so you're buying these, you don't even know what the Pokemon are. Save this for a kid. Save this for a collector. Like
they should have to beat you in a match.
Yes, exactly. Like I'm going to give you a Pokemon quiz, like it's Pokemon Stadium 1.
Exactly. I've seen stores do that where they've like straight up were like, and you can answer these 5 questions, I'll sell you more than 2. And then
gatekeeping for the win. What harm has gatekeeping ever done to the nerd community?
No. That's the difference between gatekeeping and like. Because these people are not actually trying to get into Pokemon.
I know, Derek.
That would be trolling. One thing.
Yeah, the flip side on the value on cards thing. I have a friend that plays Magic Gathering a lot, and I will always get these messages of like, yeah, so I just got this card that's worth this amount. And I finally had one like, is this card worth that amount in a way that will ever actually matter, or are you still keeping this card? And it's like, yeah, okay, yeah.
So don't ruin this
really
for me. Yeah. All right, well, let's do a quick run through, guys, of the new games, beginning with Pokemon Champions. According to Nintendo.com, Pokemon battles for everyone. Battle with Pokemon, including the Mega Evolved Pokemon like Mega Dragonite, against other players in the Pokemon Champions game, the same game that will be used for the Pokemon World Championships in 2026. These single and double battles use familiar mechanics from previous Pokemon series games, such as Pokemon types, abilities, and moves, enabling the rich and varied battle strategies you may already know and love. Compete in ranked battles against players from all over the world, or try casual battles for easygoing fun. You can have private battles with just you and your family. Recruit Pokemon to join your team and train them to hone your skills. Before you venture into the world of Pokemon battles, try finding Pokemon to fight alongside you. Once per day, you can recruit Pokemon on a trial basis to use them in battle to see if they're a good fit for your style. Once you've found a match, use your in-game victory points, or VP, to bring Pokemon onto your team, which makes me very nervous that it's going to become a pay-to-win thing. This is not sounding great. You can also use your VP to train the permanent members of your Pokemon squad, hone their attack, defense, and other stats, and even alter their abilities and moves to try out different strategies to win in battle. It is compatible with Pokemon Home, including Pokemon brought over from past series, and Mike, even Pokemon Go. So I think it
actually, is... Yeah, because Go connects to home. Like,
right.
Yeah, but you can't always get things from one game into another,
So this is going to be an all-in-one Pokemon battle app that also has a mobile version. So you can play it on your Switch, you can play it on mobile, and this is the new way that Pokemon battles are going to be decided. Mike, you've always played Pokemon Go, but you just catch. You don't, or do you do the battles and the raids and things like that?
I do them less here because in Nashville, like raid days, there was a place to go. Everybody in Nashville went there. It was awesome.
Okay.
LA does not have that. It doesn't. So I haven't done those as much. I still do raids and some amount of taking of gyms, but I'm lazy.
Just take it.
I think it's also like things change hands in city areas too often. but like if I'm in more remote areas, I make it a point to try to take gyms that seem remote to see how long I can last.
Nice.
I did have one that was something like 6 months in Australia in the middle of nowhere. Um, and actually, Behringer Crater in Arizona is a really annoying gym to reach because there's like worse cell signal in the crater. But I did put a Clefairy in the crater
Yeah.
because that felt appropriate.
Did he glitch out right when he said that for anybody else?
No.
Okay, that was just me. So does this call to you at all, Pokemon Champions? Now that you can take your Pokemon Go and compete with like legit Pokemon battlers, any idea of playing this?
Not really. I mean, in the same sense that really I'm a collector more than a battler, which is also my entire history with most card games.
And life in general.
Yeah.
Derek, Butch, excited, scared. What's your impressions of this all-in-one Poke Battle app?
You want to go first, Derek? Or, oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this seems interesting. It seems like it's definitely tailor made for the competitive scene because making a Pokemon and getting the right EVs and IVs and everything like that is such a pain. And it seems like this is a way to kind of streamline that process without having to do the annoying, ridiculous grind. It seems like that's a big part of it. It also seems like it's just the kind of new version of Pokemon Stadium where you can just go and make teams in battle, where you don't have to have like a team that is, you go through a whole Pokemon game and have them in the game where you can just put, whatever team you have into this game, optimize them for battle. So, I'm definitely when it comes to I'm not a competitive player. Like I don't get in too much into those strats and everything, but I'm a lot closer to that than I am a card game player or like a even a Pokemon Go player, where I do have teams that I think are pretty solid. If I went up against somebody and I would love to like play around with this and like try to make like really good teams and like viable teams, and I would it's that weird level I'm at where it's like I'm really good if compared to like the normal person, but once I go up against like it's like I'm like a player in the minor leagues, and then if I go up like against like the major, like I'll just get annihilated. If I go up against an actual competitive Pokemon player, but I could beat my friends.
Right. Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat, except I probably would lose against my friends. But Butch, something tells me you're a bit of a min-maxer.
Um, so I used to be back in
Okay.
the day, because see now it's easier in the newer games because you can, especially I think it started in Gen 6 where you could do like the EV training, right?
Mhm.
So if you had something that wasn't great, you could EV train it, and that used to be back you had to just hatch dozens and dozens and dozens of eggs and hope you got the right one with the right, especially since they introduced abilities, so it had to get the right ability and had the right EVs and actually, believe it or not, I can't remember when they changed it, but like having a male or female one could depend on it too, because one, I can't remember which one it was, but one or the other hit harder or had better stats.
And you couldn't
And
even
so,
see IVs and EVs in
no,
those earlier games.
no, you couldn't. You just had to basically like test it out and, figure out which one was hitting better. You take the same two Pokemon and face off against the same two and like, okay, this one hit better doing this. So this one has it. Like it was a whole convoluted thing. But I just kind of got out of it. Like with Derek, I'm not very competitive. Like I'll play against people, but I'm not. Yeah, it's kind of the same thing. Like if I go from the minor league to the majors, I'll probably get whooped handily. And I don't. I know you said earlier we'd probably get strikes for this, but like the most I ever do is like when I do my runs on my stream, and do if I die, I die type of thing, right? So like that's the most I do like competitive wise. Like I'm not hardcore into it. Like does this set a potential precedence where you have to pay money to do certain things? Maybe. Depends on how greedy Nintendo wants to get. I do like the fact that for competitive players, like this is now the go-to. They don't have to go from, oh, we were in X and Y and had megas, and then we went to Sun and Moon, and then you have to get used to Z moves and megas, so you have to have that game, and then Gigantamaxing, and then now
Yeah.
it's one app. You don't have to buy the next big game. It's all just going to be right there. And so, like when people then do go to the competitions, It's right there. They don't have to have the newest game or whatever if they don't necessarily want to. I know they will because they are, but
Well, I also think it's smart because I think there is I prefer the battles versus the exploration. Like I would really love to build a Pokemon team and not have to dick around in Team Rocket's secret hideout with the conveyor belts. You know what I mean? Like Pokemon as a series really loves to kind of waste your time. And so I am intrigued in a more bare bones leveling up I mean, I don't want to say microtransactions, but like if the free to play model is run well and you can make good progress, this could be a really fun way for people to get Pokemon they've never had access to without doing the daisy chains that you guys have been talking about. And, I haven't been playing the series for the last 30 years because I'm freaking 12. Let me play the Pokemon I like. You know what I mean? We have to remember about that audience as well. So I am overall more excited than anything. I think it's just interesting that they're finally trying to modernize like what a Pokemon battle competitive scene would look like.
Yeah, and I'll build on Butch's point that I like a lot. That I'm like that they're bringing all the generational gimmicks in, where it's like, okay, we have megas. How is a mega going against a Gigantamax Pokemon versus a Terastallized Pokemon? Instead of just being like, well, okay, what's the gimmick that we have to learn for this generation that's gonna, and how is that gonna affect the meta? It's like it's all in there. Like if you got really good at megas like 8 years ago or whatever, then you can, bring the strategies back for that and see how they hold up against somebody's strategy who has like a really good Gigantamax Snorlax or something.
I appreciate that, like, because I did not follow all the generational updates. So when you said generational gimmicks, the first thing my brain went to was the pet rock, and I'm like, actually, no, wait, that is in Pokemon.
Geo,
Yeah.
dude.
That joke is too accurate. So then the last new game here, Pokemon Wind and Waves. According to
Ooh, the big one.
Pokemon.com, these new titles feature an open world to explore exclusive to the Switch 2 with beautiful windswept islands and vast oceans with glittering waves. The Pokemon that live in harmony with this region's lush environment have developed their own unique ecosystems. During this adventure, you team up with all kinds of Pokemon to overcome both the difficult road ahead and even the forces of nature that block your path. Your main character sports a different outfit depending on the version that you play. Will you choose Grass type by partnering with Brout, the lively but clumsy Bean Chick Pokemon? Or perhaps you'll heat things up with a Fire type by picking Pombon, the guileless and friendly puppy Pokemon. If water types are more your speed, then the intelligent water gecko Pokemon Gekwa might be the partner for you. The trailer also showed off a pair of special Pikachu with a brand new look. We'll have to wait a bit longer to learn how Mr. Windy Chew and Ms. Wavy Chew will be involved in the adventure. Additionally, it will be announced that Pokemon Winds and Waves supports Brazilian Portuguese as a supported language. Now, even more fans around the world can play this new adventure in the native tongue. I love that that was the thing they ended their press release on. Is like Brazilian Portuguese people, we freaking see you. I think this is really exciting. No shade to people who don't own a Switch 2, but I'm really excited to see a game developed for the exclusively the more powerful software. I feel like having to include previous gens has really held them back graphically. And I'm excited because so you guys watched the trailer, right?
Yes.
Oh
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Did you catch what they were doing when it cut to black and there was like 10 seconds of just audio?
No.
Okay, so
No,
you heard
because I was watching it on my phone, so I didn't really
Yeah.
get.
It's really interesting. So the trailer stops, but there's just 10 seconds of darkness and you're listening to the waves, but you can clearly hear a storm brewing. And so
Okay.
I feel like a big component of this game is going to be dynamic weather and they're going to build like in-game events around it.
Gen 3's back, baby.
No, I know, but
So
imagine how cool it would be if like the island has flooded. Now areas that I was exploring has water now and now there's water Pokemon everywhere. Or like droughts, you know what I mean? Like I feel like they could do a really cool thing if the environment changes the map. That could be really huge.
Yeah.
the rumor
Incidentally,
is that's what's going to happen.
Cool.
I won't go too far into it to people that don't want to spoil anything, but
You heard it here first.
yeah,
Even
the
though Butch
rumor is
clearly
the rumor is that it's going to have to do with that. It's going to have to deal with the elementals and how they essentially interact with the Pokemon.
That's dope.
incidentally, it wasn't until watching that trailer that I discovered that, because since Pokemon Go is my reference, and there they just show up on a map. I did not realize that Frillish was aquatic. until
Oh, yeah.
I was like, oh, it was like, oh yeah, I guess that makes sense.
I love that, like, you guys, every one of you have said stuff that, like, I have the Ash Ketchum hat, and I'm just nodding like I understand half of what you guys are. I also didn't know Frillish was a water type. Yeah, idiots. But so, you guys have not all gotten Switch 2s, right?
I have not yet. I will
Me
probably
neither.
for this.
I was gonna say, is this gonna make you pull the trigger?
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
I don't see how I don't get it, right? Because, like, that's the thing. Like, I don't have my Switch 2. I've always, like, well, I'm waiting for them to make a Zelda, but I'm like, I might have to just do it. Because as much as, like, ZA and, like, like, all the other games that have come out and, like, we've talked about, but I'm like, okay, these would be cool. Those are, like, spin-off side games. I know ZA is technically the main series, but it's not one of the versions, the core versions. And I'm like, I have never not played a core version of Pokemon. I so I have to get a Switch too, and I've got a year, So, but yeah, I have to keep this tradition going. And these games do, and very little we know so far, but they do look incredible. I will say it is utilizing that Switch hardware, and I think that apparently the region is based on Indonesia.
Oh,
Which is
cool.
cool, and you can like go underneath the water to traverse
Mhm.
between the two of them. And that, where Mike saw his Frillish, that looks so cool.
I think that the biggest opportunity is actually in the game chat feature of Switch 2, because that's the one where, like, if we're in a party and we're talking via voice chat through Switch 2, there's also little screens across the bottom that share screen. So if they actually integrate online well, and all four of us can run around the island looking for a Pokemon, and Butch is like, "Oh my God, I found it," and we can see on his screen where he is, and we run to go join him, and now it's a raid battle, and we catch the Mega Frillish, like, that's gonna be, like, really fun, and that's going to be a use of game chat that would justify it being, sort of unique and sort of like a thing exclusive to Switch too. So okay, so y'all in the Discord, and by the way, guys, join the Discord, www.theoldswitcheroo.com. Everyone's got jokes, but I like the starting set. I know they're not the most original, but they're super cute, and they're gonna sell plush toys of all of these. And I don't know. I am a fan of Brout, Pombon, and Gekwa. What do you guys think of the starters?
I think
Uh,
it's the first set of starters that there isn't one that I think is cool.
Ah, okay.
Just none of them appeal to me. It's the only one where it was like, okay, this feels like I'm settling.
You're Brout, Mike. Come on.
It feels they feel too close to just, hey, what if you can catch emoji?
You don't use emojis when you text, do you?
No, I make it a point to add a space back in so that it doesn't autocorrect into like an emoji if I'm putting like a colon in a parentheses.
You know most of the world freaking love emojis, right?
I don't agree with a lot of things the world does.
There you go. There you go. All right, Mike's down. Mike's down on him. Mike's not on board. Derek, starters?
I'm gonna be honest. When I saw the initial like thing for it, and it said like Pokemon Wind and Waves, and it was the three Pokemon, I was like, "Oh, that's fake. That's not real.
Oh,
That's some
come
fan made
on.
bullshit." I really thought that, and then I like quickly Googled it. I was like, "Oh no, these are real." You know, it's their first stages. Who knows what's gonna happen? I also really didn't like any of the starters for Gen 9. I thought those were pretty weak. You know, we'll see what they evolve into. Maybe my tune will change, but as far as just like first stages, like it's like Fluffy Fire Dog,
Yeah,
Gecko,
it's
and
adorable.
then Timu Rowlet.
Okay, okay, okay. Butch, I need you on my side so this can
So
go to the
I will
Discord
say
vote.
I do like them. This is
Yeah.
actually, hey, but I do find it interesting because there's a lot of people that are like, Brout is the Angry Bird chicken, right? Or Pombon is what's the dog from Undertale? I never played it, but a lot of people are comparing it to that, right? And then the Gekwa is they're like, oh, that's Littlest Pet Shop. Right? There's a lot of people that are throwing that out. My thing is, if you turn any single one of these into a bipedal humanoid in their final evolution, I will riot. Stop
Okay.
doing that.
Okay, but
I
this
saw
For
is
something
the
of if this thing grows abs, so help me.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, like, if you look at the last couple of generations, that's what they've done. It seems like, and I don't want to say the classic, oh, they've run out of ideas, but like the last two in like two of them in Gen 9, they just turned into a humanoid, the bipedal humanoid. That's what they did. That's why I liked Flay Coco and why, I chose him. Stop doing it. You ruined Litten for me. Litten, I love Litten, but then get Incineroar out of here. You ruined it for me.
Okay,
Stop doing that.
I'm gonna be a creep. This is mostly for Derek. Gekwa's big batty eyes. I was like, is that gonna be kind of a smoke show as like a third stage? Is it gonna be like? I feel like we're gonna be like, like
Mike's
not now. I'm not saying as it is now. Just to be clear.
So you're out here looking for another Lopunny. Is that what you?
Oh God, please no.
Look, you said the name. I said nothing. Well,
yeah, you implied it.
Oh, what's your favorite? Ralts? Yeah, everyone loves that stage of the evolution.
Gardevoir, right?
No,
listen, it's a good
Ralts.
Pokemon. Okay, just not my fault. The internet ruins everything.
Right?
See. Are you not touching on? I guess it wasn't a fresh announcement, but that the game that's releasing this week.
What are you referring to?
Pokopia or whatever.
Oh, Pokopia.
Yeah.
Oh, we were eventually going to I thought we were going to add that on the end or whatever.
Well, I hadn't included because it wasn't like a kind of a newer development. But yeah, Pokopia, the Animal Crossing-esque island simulator. It looks kind of cute. Like, but Mike, you never played Animal Crossing. Pokopia, any interest?
The more I've seen about it, the initial stuff I saw about it looked really interesting, and the stuff they showed in the most recent thing that looks a lot more like what I've heard about Animal Crossing, but with Pokemon. And I'm like, yeah, maybe this isn't for me.
Okay.
Like the early,
you like Chibi Robo.
yeah, and I think it's the more it kind of the earlier stuff made it feel like there was going to be somewhat more of a goal element to it, and this had a lot more like, oh, decorate things how you'd like and maintain it, and there's all these other things that are vague, and like this feels like a lot more work than like, oh, and then we've reached, I got all the Pokemon and we're done kind of thing, but getting them in a fun way.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like it's going to be fun. I think I might pick it up. I really like the idea of like an Animal Crossing, but there's like a checklist and you're trying to meet every Pokemon, and I'm sure there's going to be some wacky requirements of, to get Articuno, you have to open an ice cream shop and, you have to have 3 Pokemon dancing here. And, there's going to be all kinds of weird convoluted ways to get it because that's
But can
really
you transfer them to home? That's my question.
Can you transfer them to home?
Oh, and the part where it was like, oh, and you're gonna need to eat food, and I'm like, oh, see, now this feels like a task I don't want to deal with. Like, I don't. That's a pain in regular life to be like, all right, need to eat meals. So the idea of the game introducing that was like,
wait, you dislike eating meals, Mike?
I don't like it having to be like a task to it. It's one thing to be like, oh yeah, this will be nice, but it's another thing to be like, maintenance.
I just want to see Mike's like Yelp reviews. Like everything is 1 star. Like they fed me, those bastards.
Those bastards.
This restaurant was awful.
I could see that because like Animal Crossing, you don't necessarily have to eat. You can, but like you don't necessarily have to, and you can still do with whatever it is you want to do. So I could understand that.
It's like when I got annoyed with like when Minecraft added hunger as a thing, where it used to be.
I played a lot of Harvest Moon back in the day, and I liked the way they did hunger in that, where it was just like your stomach would growl, and you didn't like die or anything if you didn't eat. But if you like, the longer you went without eating, like the more you would growl, and it would just stop you. So it was really annoying to deal with.
Yeah, it's a thing where it's like I'm looking at this like, okay, I'm a lot less certain about this, so I'm still keeping an eye on it.
I think Jackie might be into it. Jackie's big into Animal Crossing and Pokemon. And I'm like, well, if there's any game that, and she doesn't really play much, but if something calls to her, she'll pick it up. So I might grab this and just download it on her LiteSwitch and just surprise her. And if she doesn't like it, I'll play it.
It feels like it's moving away from what had been a interesting, creepy thing to it.
Oh, playing as the Ditto.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so interesting. And it barely showed, like, the implications of that did not show up at all in the most recent trailer. Like they indicate that you are a Ditto, because they do the hide and seek thing where you can pretend to be objects and stuff, but like it doesn't have the like you are pretending to be a probably dead person.
Majora's Mask. Okay. Butch, Derek, Pokopia, Nintendo, check it out, or Nintendo pass?
I'll probably check it out. I probably won't go like deep into it because like Well, it's, like with Animal Crossing or anything like that. Like I played into it, but I wasn't like the type of person that had to make my island, extravagant and all this other stuff. And it depends on mechanics. If it's more like Stardew Valley, I'll probably play it a little bit more. But looking at it, it's something I'll probably dive into a little bit and be like, okay, this is fun for what it is, and it's neat. And like I saw they did have like you could get certain variations of Pokemon never seen anywhere else because they're like I think they showed a Snorlax that was like a kind of a greenish color or something. I can't remember off the top of my head, but so that that's one of those things where like that'll be kind of cool to see, but I go as hard as I do in like the mainline games? Most likely not.
This would make a great demo if there's like a time limited demo, like you get to play it for like an hour, you know what I mean? And then, but Derek, what's your gut say?
Yeah, we kind of just went from like the thing I'm most interested in to the thing that
Yeah.
I'm just like, whatever. It seems cool. Like I'm not really an Animal Crossing guy. Like I like Stardew Valley, I like Harvest Moon, but that's about as far as I get into those kind of sim games. And I could see it being like something maybe my girlfriend downloads because I think she likes that aspect of Pokemon. She's one of those players who's like, I don't want to evolve him. He's cute. So like I could see her being very into this game and maybe me playing it on her Switch, the same as like you with Jackie.
None more righteous. And also I will also add if they put some kind of multiplayer ability to visit other Poke Islands and get and visit and meet Pokemon you haven't seen and you expand your collection that way, that could be really cool.
They specifically talked about that you can go visit people in it.
Yeah, see, Nintendo, you've been listening.
Yeah.
Good job.
Honestly, if they made it compatible with home, I might be more inclined to get because that collector brain, it just would lock in and be like, "What? There's a Snorlax you can only get in this?" Because that's part of the reason I bought back in the day. Bought like Pokemon Ranger is because you could only get the Manaphy egg like by beating that game and then transferring it over.
You shill.
But it was a good game too.
Yeah, it was. It was worth it.
Just regular Snorlax, but it's got a new hat.
So then let's wrap it up here with the rest of the Pokemon anniversary news. Pokemon World Championships and Pokemon XP. It says 2 incredible events, 1 unforgettable weekend, August 28th through the 30th at the Moscone Center in downtown San Francisco. Experience this history-making Pokemon experience alongside the annual Pokemon World Championships. The Pokemon Company will be hosting its very first official Pokemon convention, complete with panels, merch, and rumor has it there might even be a Pokemon Center-themed pop-up store. Derek, Mike, we live close enough. You guys think about going?
Wait, rumor has it they were very clear. Like I thought they were weirdly overselling we'll have a store.
No, but there's a rumor that it's gonna be like a full-size Pokemon Center. They've done this for similar Pokemon events, but since this is the biggest scale so far, people are thinking it's gonna be like a really impressive themed store.
I mean, it does probably have the advantage that there should be some good Pokemon Go stuff going around outside.
That's true.
Because there's a lot of things I've gotten from where it's either Nashville or various parts of LA where they've got a Pokemon event going on, and so they just start tossing out unknowns or something into the wild.
I mean, I know in years past they've done like the championships at the Anaheim Convention Center, which shout out, that's where we're doing our WonderCon panel. So if there's something there, I would absolutely go, or even like LA or something. You say it's close, that's still like an 8-hour drive to San Francisco. Like, I don't know. So it's a hard maybe for me.
Yeah.
And this year, like I was even too lazy to go to Pokemon Go Fest, and that was in Pasadena, so like it was nearby. But granted, it's a lot of walking.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's not just laziness; that's also you being protective.
Yeah. So there's a little bit of that, but there's mild temptation in that regard. Because like, if I could justify going up there for a different reason, and I just happen to be in the vicinity, I'd be more after that than the actual event itself, personally.
I love it. If there's one thing on brand for this show, it's mild temptation. I like that, Mike. So then let's leave off with the biggest piece of news, the Game Boy Jukebox. According to the official Pokemon YouTube channel, this is a Game Boy-shaped playback machine that allows you to enjoy songs from Pokemon Red and Blue, enjoy 45 familiar songs from Pokemon Red version and Blue version, while swapping the cartridges in and out of the playback machine. This product is about 1/3 the size of the actual Game Boy, and not only the color of the buttons, but also the grooves of the main body and the speaker sound are faithfully reproduced. This is weird, and I've never seen a product that made me so uncomfortable about its environmental impact. The idea of selling 45 different little cartridges and swapping them out to hear different Pokemon songs. Like, I feel like this will be really fun for cosplayers who are like, I'm gonna be a ghost Pokemon. And I want to walk around with the Lavender Town theme coming from my belt at all times, and it's a fun little kitschy thing. But this is the most Nintendo that Nintendo has ever Nintendoed. This is wild. This is
I
up
th
there with
I think
Virtual
their
Boy.
I was gonna say I think their clock was a weirder move,
Okay, okay,
but I
yeah,
still went through this twice. I'm like, what? We're switching things. Why?
right. Yeah, you couldn't put all the songs on one cartridge and press the button on the Game Boy to change songs. Like, what are we doing here? This,
You're telling me, JMO, you didn't have a hit clips back in the day?
I did not. I did not.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is some real early 2000s shit. It's also like the most Nintendo shit ever, where they're like, we're just gonna make weird shit for like no
Mhm.
that no one ever asked for.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, like it's like we don't all walk around with phones that can play the exact all of those exact tracks at all times,
Exactly.
anytime. But it's just like, yeah, it's just this weird little novelty to have. That, like it said, it feels like something that would be like a hit clips or something that would be come out in 2003 before we all had smartphones, and it's just like this cool little kitschy thing. But it's like, why does this exist? Because I don't know. Because it's fun, you know.
Yeah.
Like, I,
I
like,
don't know.
am I gonna get it?
I,
Probably not. But
I feel like
like,
I don't.
I
I,
would 100% say this is like nostalgia bait, because
yeah.
like they talk about like the game, like the grooves are back. Like I could like that's one of the things I still have with my cartridges is my gray brick Game Boy, and I can remember the grooves that were on the back from holding it. And and as far as the music goes, like yeah, I suppose you want to get that kind of like broken chip tune out of that one speaker that it had. That's probably the way to do it. But like yeah, because I remember on playing like Heart Gold or Soul Silver, once you beat it, one of the things was you got the Game Boy sounds, so that way you could hear the old sounds that way in
Yeah,
game.
yeah.
But even then, you're playing it on the DS, so it's better quality. So I kind of get what they're trying to do. But at the same time, like you said, like if you buy all those cartridges and you're swapping them in and out, and eventually you get to the point where you don't want it anymore, and it ends up all this plastic somewhere.
Well, it's definitely. I feel like a lot. I'll just say this as someone who's undiagnosed, but maybe on the spectrum. It's definitely It's definitely like being like a lot of you guys who play Pokemon are probably on a particular spectrum. You like your classic nostalgic stuff. You like specific, the grooves. You know, so
Yep.
but at
I
that
see what you're
point,
doing.
then why scale it down? Because if for anyone that's like, oh yeah, this is the feel I remember, very few people in their target audience have shrunk significantly since they had that. I'm going to even venture a guess most people have gone the other direction. Um, so like in my mind, make it. I mean, obviously the easiest is just like, what if you just made it a Game Boy and you're set? But even if you're just like, we're gonna make it the size as the Game Boy, and it will let you play music, and it's also an external battery for everybody who's also playing Pokemon Go at the same time, or something like that. At least it's like, okay, this has like a use. But I'm like,
Yeah.
I can't imagine how someone's going to use this in the course of even not even just a regular day, but even an irregular day. Like rather than them pitching it, I would like them to just have like, here's 2 minutes of someone using this for real in a normal life.
See, I'm
Yeah.
To
almost I'm almost a fan of how useless it is because if it was like a little bit useless, I'd be like, well, that's dumb. But the fact
Mhm.
that it is so pointless, I'm like, yeah, go off. Like, why would you have this thing? Like, I mean, you could do this stuff with so many, but because it's so ridiculously niche, I'm kind of like, you know what? More power to you.
this is the kind of
Yep.
thing that 100 years from now, an archaeologist will find and just presume it's for ritualistic purposes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're gonna look
Exactly.
back at the excess. It's like that scene in like the post-apocalyptic movie where it's like they were coming up with the most pointless things every day. We didn't appreciate what we had. This is the exact
The sign of
example of
the
that
end
kind of
times.
excess.
And it
Yeah.
Yep.
doesn't even indicate like, and we're just going to keep growing this out. So it's
No.
like, it feels like you're
Yeah.
getting it for just this exactly one limited thing. And it's just like, this feels ridiculous.
Yeah,
Yeah.
at the most, I feel like they could do Gen 2 because that was still on the Game Boy. But after that, it was the Game Boy Advance and DS, so the sound systems are better. And right, like then there's no point to do it in the Game Boy quality
Yeah.
anymore.
It's just wild because it's like the most hipster way to listen to music possible. It's like this
Right.
individual Pokemon cartridges, you know.
It's like
Um,
when I bought my Killer's branded hot sauces, and I was like, I don't know, like it's Killer's hot sauces. It's something to
yeah,
have, you know?
there is a point where it's so absurd. Like you're just happy that someone's like drunk uncle is apparently really high up at Nintendo or the Pokemon company. Oh, Nintendo, never change. You are so freaking wacky, and I don't know how you're so successful,
I
but
have some
more
ideas on
power
how
to
they
you.
should change.
Yeah. All right, guys, we're gonna call that game over for today. Butch, why don't you remind our listeners where they can go to see you? Wait, I said that wrong. Why don't you remind our listeners where they can go to see you, Power Ranger?
Nice. Yes, I do have a Twitch, SSJ3 Butch. I currently am on hiatus because I've got family stuff that's going on, and I just can't make my schedule work. But I do plan starting in the fall again to start back up on a regular schedule. I have a bunch of stuff planned, especially around Pokemon, old stuff, new stuff. So yes, please definitely check it out, give it a follow. Even if I'm not here right now or over the summer, I have a full thing scheduled and I have a bunch of stuff planned out, and we always have a good time. And so I really hope to see you guys there.
Awesome. We'll see you around. Thank you for coming tonight. And Derek, where can our listeners go to get another hit of the McDuff Man?
Yes, you can go listen to Underrated Movie Podcast on all the podcast apps, however you're listening to this. It's a lot of fun. I talk about films that are underrated and underappreciated. Both Mike and JMO have been on, so I'd love you guys to go check those episodes out. And if you're going to be at WonderCon, definitely stop by, say hi. Me and JMO are going to be there. I'm going to be there for the whole weekend, and I can't say when it is yet, but definitely go check out our panel. If you like video games and if you like movies, we're going to be talking about both of them there.
I mean, WonderCon is the last weekend of March, right?
Yes, yes.
So we can say that much.
Yeah, just
Yes,
go to the
yes,
whole
we can.
just go to the whole
Just go.
convention.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just go to just go.
Just
And
go
you're
to the
good, baby.
convention, and we'll be there one of those days, one of those 3 days.
I am beyond excited. Guys, this all sounds NE excellent. Everyone join us next time when Mike and I will be exchanging fighting words as we discuss the newly released Virtual Boy peripherals and the divisive first-person puncher Teleroboxer. Until next time, please remember to like, follow, or subscribe to the Old Switch Aru and rate or review the show wherever you get your podcasts. You can also visit www.theoldswitcharu.com to find all our social media links. We'd love to hear what you thought of this episode and what you're hoping to hear in future episodes. As always, thanks for listening to the Old Switch Aru, where we've been talking gaming retro kind of with Mike and JMO.
I've kind of been Mike.
And I've been all the way JMO. Game on, everyone. Wouldn't it be cool if Mike just shows up in full Team Rocket? Like he just outdoes all of us, you know what I mean?
Oh, that'd be so funny.
I have never known him to be that kind of person. But he would actually what would he be, Derek? He'd probably be like the Pokeball or something. That's not like I'm not
That's
like
yeah.
he likes to create costumes that were like structures.
No, he would be like Missing No, is what he would be. Like,
Oh, yeah, I could see
Dude,
that.
You are so right. Mike would
I could
rock
see him
a
being
missing
Missing No.
no.